Hello everybody and welcome back to another How Would I Judge a Drag Race season. Today we are going to be looking at RuPaul's Drag Race Season 8, the US version, because there's no other Season 8s that are out. Just like the last time I did this video, we are going to be going through the competitions and the challenges that happened during this season and looking at how I would personally judge them. So as always, the rules to remember for this, the season has to be as long as Season 8 originally was, which was 10 episodes, 9 competitive episodes, and then a finale/reunion. So we're going to be keeping that same structure intact for this as well. And the performances in the challenges need to be based off of how well someone did or how well people would predict they would do. Because this is being judged differently than it was judged originally, are going to be people that are participating in challenges that they never actually participated in on the season. So the way that we're going to be going over like how well they were doing the challenge is based off of, how well they did in similar challenges, if you participated in similar challenges when they were on that season, or just based off of how the general populace would think that they would do in that challenge. So the goals for this are to act as if I am the head judge and craft the season however I can imagine to make it as fun and eventful as possible, but be fair with my judging of the season by combining my own personal tastes and what was shown to us on the show. Obviously, when it comes to stuff like design challenges, I have my own opinions on what looked good, but I'm not just going to say that somebody who is in the bottom should be in the top. Like, I'm not going to do that. But who knows, I might switch somebody who was high to safe or safe to high, for instance, because, we're all different people with different opinions on fashion and comedy. But I'm still going to be going off of what was shown to us on the show and generally what I think the majority of people believe about what was shown to us or what would happen. So the first episode, we have the design challenge. In this design challenge, every single contestant was given a different box that related to a corresponding design challenge from the past in Drag Race, and they had to create an outfit essentially as an addition to those design challenges. They really wanted to drill in that it was the 100th episode of the show. Was that the 100th episode? I think it was. Yeah. Because it was the 100th Queen, for sure. But 100th episode, I think it was as well. Was the first episode of Season 8. But nevertheless, we are going to be keeping the winner of this challenge intact. Kimchi did a great job in this challenge. She made this nice, like, animal-looking thing. I still don't even know exactly what it was, but it was really good. And she won originally, so we're keeping her as the winner. Acid Betty is still going to place high. Her outfit looked great. But instead of having Derek Barry placing high, we're actually going to be having Bob the Drag Queen taking her spot. So, yeah, Derek Barry is not going to be placing in the top. She will be placing safe, though. I'm not putting her into the bottom. She does not deserve that. But Bob the Drag Queen is going to be taking her place in the top. She had the Gone with the Windows prompt with making the outfit out of the curtains, and she did a great job with that. Her outfit, it kind of fit with the promo of the season aesthetic. It kind of fit this like housewife aesthetic. It also is kind of what spawned Purse First. So that's, very interesting. And I think she deserves the top the most over Derek, funnily enough. I guess the feud starts episode 1. Now, I decided to take Layla McQueen out of the bottom 3. Her outfit was a bit basic, as it was essentially just a jacket with shoes, but that was the most impeccably crafted set of jacket and shoes that's ever existed, just as a set of jacket and shoes. I mean, it looked so good. And while it was a bit basic, it was styled very well, and it was constructed very well. So we're taking Layla McQueen out of the bottom completely. She's going to be placing safe this episode. That means we have to move somebody into the bottom, in that low spot specifically, and that sadly is going to be Cynthia Lee Fontaine. Cynthia, her outfit wasn't bad, but she got the candy ball assignment, and it really kind of reminded me a lot of Jinx's outfit, and the fact that it really just kind of felt like a dress that Candy was glued to. And it just didn't look good in my opinion. But she does not deserve the bottom 2 for that outfit at all. But she will be placing low with that outfit. Originally, Robbie Turner placed low, now is moving down to the bottom 2 against Naysha Lopez. They're going to be lip-syncing to Applause by Lady Gaga. And this might be a controversial opinion, but I do think Robbie Turner would win this lip sync. Robbie Turner lip synced twice on her season. She first lip synced to, I believe it was Mesmerized by Faith Evans, and then to I Love It by Icona Pop. And she did a pretty good job in her first lip sync, and she did a kind of lackluster job in her second lip sync. But if we're being completely honest, the lip sync performance that caused Robbie Turner to go home, I thought was a better performance than the one that Naysha gave to Applause. And so I am more confident in Robbie beating Naysha than I am Naysha beating Robbie. So sadly, Naysha Lopez is going to go away again in the first episode. But she will not be coming back, sadly. Because in this next episode, episode 2, we are not having a double elimination. Episode 2 is the Bitch Perfect Challenge, the Rusical. And while usually in seasons of Drag Race, the kind of early season first like team challenge would be judged within the teams, I'm not going to be doing that this time because for each team there was members of the team that did super well and members that did super bad. So I don't think it makes sense to grade it in teams when that's not reflective that really at all with the performances. So we're going to be keeping the winner of this challenge intact. That is going to be Chi Chi DeVayne. Chi Chi did an amazing job in this challenge. She completely deserved her win. I mean, her picking herself up and turning herself on her head is, it is the moment of the challenge I remember the most, always. It is the most iconic part of the challenge. She completely deserves it. Acid Betty is going to be staying in the top this week for this performance. She did a great job as well. She was in the top originally. She deserves to still be there. I did take Thorgy Thor out of the top, and I did replace her with Robbie Turner. As you're going to see a bit later throughout this, a lot of placements revolve around Robbie Turner's, me disagreeing with where Robbie Turner was placed. But I think she did a great job this episode. She was by far the best in her team. Like she did an amazing job as, you know, playing the one with the deeper voice. The lady bitches. She was one of the lady bitch with the deeper voice. She did a great job with that. So I think she completely deserves this top placement. I did move Layla McQueen out of the bottom 2 and instead put her to low and moved Kimchi down to the bottom 2. The reason I decided to do that is because while Layla McQueen didn't do good in the challenge, while she was very boring to kind of watch, she didn't make any visible mistakes like Dax or Kimchi made. There were points where Kimchi kind of stumbled a bit, and there were points where it seemed like Dax didn't exactly know the words, or at the very least, she was not confident in her words, and it made it seem like she didn't know them, even if she did. But Layla didn't have any super visible mistakes. She just got incredibly lost within the performance, and it was pretty unmemorable compared to the other contestants. But just because you were unmemorable doesn't mean you did a bad job at all. And none of them did a bad job. I feel like I'm sounding too harsh, but the point is, Layla does not deserve the bottom 2 here. She deserves low, in my opinion. And we're going to see Kimchi go against Dax, ! And I will survive. And this might be a controversial opinion, but I do think that Kimchi could and probably would win this lip sync. This is a song that you really can stand in one spot and just emote that shit out if you want to. We saw Dax's original performance. It wasn't terrible, but it was pretty boring. Whereas if Kimchi did what I think she probably would have done and stood in one spot or paced in a couple and just kind of got those words out of her, with good emotion, I think she would have won. Or, I would have chosen her to win if she did that. So, yeah, Kimchi's gonna be winning the lip sync against Dax in episode 2. Coming now to episode 3, we have the Ruco Empires challenge. Now, for this challenge, I decided to keep Bob as winning the challenge. She did the best job by far. She did such a good job. Great job. And I'm going to keep our other contestant who's in the same position, Thorgy Thor, in the top as well. She also did a great job. I do think Bob was overall funnier than she was. I do think people kind of say that Thorgy was robbed because she more kind of carried her team, which I guess is true, but I feel like that really just kind of means that she stood out better in comparison. I think just looking at it as two separate performances, I do prefer Bob's. So Bob is still going to win this for me. I decided to take Acid Betty out of the top three. She did a good job, but like I think Naomi Smalls did better. Naomi played her part super duper well. I really liked what she did with it. Since we do have Layla McQueen here, where she was not last time, we do have to assess how Layla would have done in this challenge, and I don't think she would have done that good of a job. I think at this point in her life, and as we kind of saw in Drag Race, she wasn't super comfortable with allowing herself to be like loud and like the center of attention, at least as what we saw in the show. So I don't think she would have been done super well in an acting challenge where the goal is to kind of like stand out and play this like over the top character. So I did put her in the bottom two and moved Robbie Turner up to low, which kept, I think it was Derek Barry placed low originally here. But since we had to move Robbie up, Derek got bumped up to safe as well. So now we have, in this scenario, we have Layla versus Cynthia Lee Fontaine, lip syncing to Mesmerized by Faith Evans. I did decide to keep Layla as winning this challenge. Layla did win applause, or not winning this challenge, winning this lip sync, but like Layla did win applause, and she did a good job at it. And I think because the song is in more of a similar vein to Applause than it is to I Will Survive, I do think Layla would probably stay here. That just what makes sense to me. So sadly, Cynthia Lee Fontaine is going to go here, and I love Miss Cuckoo, but I just don't. It just wasn't. It was the right time, I think, for her to go, and I do think that that's what would have happened in this scenario, is that Layla would have beat Cynthia. Episode 4, we have the New Wave Queens Challenge, where the girls are split into groups where they have to perform, you know, like new wave songs. And the results of this challenge are basically exactly the same as they were originally, just swapping out Naysha for Layla. I do think in this scenario that our team of Late Chicken Wing over there on the left would still win, and Robbie Turner would still deserve the win for this challenge. The Team New York would be safe, and We Are the Girls of Dragometry would be in the bottom. I don't know, sadly, would they do Dragometry in this timeline? Probably not. That upsets me. But still, I think they would do the worst, and I think Derek Barry would still perform the best, meaning that we have Chi-Chi, Devane, and Layla McQueen in the bottom two, doing Call Me by Blondie, and Chi-Chi would win. This is like no question in my mind, Chi-Chi wins. So we're going to be moving on to episode 5, which is the Snatch Game episode of the season. And actually, none of the placements of this episode change. I think the placements of this episode were pretty correct. We're still going to have Bob win, because Bob deserved to win. Bob did a great job as Carol Channing and Uzo Aduba. Derek Barry and Thorgy Thor are still in the top for their performances. Kimchi and Gigi Devane are still safe. Robbie places low, and then we silver bottom to a lip sync to Causing a Commotion that Naomi Smalls and Acid Betty had to perform. Naomi Smalls, as originally, wins this lip sync, which means that Acid Betty is out. And we move on to episode 6, in which we have the Makeover Challenge, the Wizard of Oz inspired challenge. And basically all of the placements for this episode stay the same as well. Naomi Smalls wins, Kimchi places high along with Thorgy Thor, Bob places safe, Chi-Chi places low, and Derek Barry goes against Robbie Turner in the bottom two to I Love It by Iconopop, where Derek Barry wins. I have seen some people claim a bit of slightly different placements for this challenge. Usually this order is kind of the same, but sometimes it's phrased as Bob is low and Thorgy is safe, or just Bob is low, or Thorgy and Bob are both safe. Whatever it is, in my kind of universe, An episode with 7 contestants where it's graded individually is always going to have one person winning, 2 people placing high, 1 person placing safe, 1 person placing low, and then the bottom 2. So I decided to grade that this way as well. So while you might think that maybe Thorgy didn't deserve to be high, she's just safe, or Bob didn't deserve to be safe, just low, I'm still putting it that way because that's just the way I want to put it, to be honest. So yeah, we are going to move on to episode 7, which is the commercial challenge, the political challenge of the season, where the placements of this challenge are also going to be staying exactly the same for 3 episodes in a row. Bob the Drag Queen and Derek Barry are going to win the challenge. Naomi Smalls and Kimchi are going to be placing safe, whereas Gigi Devane and Thorgy Thor are going to be in the bottom 2, where Gigi is going to beat Thorgy Thor to And I'm Telling You I'm Not Going from Dreamgirls. Some people put Naomi Smalls as high and Kimchi as low, or whatever have you. Because they were judged in teams, I think it only makes sense to give them both the same placement, and that placement for me is safe, because that just would make sense. For me, if you're doing a final 6 episode where there's teams of 3, there should be 2 winners, or sorry, not teams of 3 teams of 2. There should be 2 winners, 2 safes, and then bottom 2. So that's the way it's graded, and we're going to move on to episode 8. In episode 8, we have the RuPaul Book Ball, and we do have one change in the placements this episode where Naomi Smalls is going to be winning this challenge over Kimchi. These two absolutely did the best in this challenge in this episode, but I do think Naomi Smalls overall did better. While I do prefer Kimchi's final look, which is the look that they constructed, I think looking at all 3 outfits as a concept and a story, I think Naomi Smalls overall does the best. So I'm giving the win to Naomi Smalls here. Kimchi still places high. Chi-Chi is safe. And Bob and Derek face off in the bottom 2 to You Make Me Feel Mighty Real by Sylvester. And Bob wins that lip sync, which means that Derek Barry goes home. And we move on to the 9th and penultimate episode. In this episode, we have the slightly older style of episode happening right before the finale, where all the remaining contestants star in a RuPaul music video. This time it is the Realness. But none of what happens during these episodes really matter. Usually whoever goes home is the person who has had the worst track record throughout the season. I think it's only been once where that wasn't the case. And the person who had the worst track record throughout the season was Chi-Chi Devane. So Chi-Chi is going to be eliminated at this episode, and we're going to have our top 3 of Bob the Drag Queen, Kimchi, and Naomi Smalls. Moving on into the finale, we are going to be having the exact same winner as originally was. Bob the Drag Queen will win this season with the best track record, and probably the biggest story out of any of the final 3. You could argue Naomi Smalls had a bigger story. Actually, you may be able to argue Kimchi had a bigger story as well, but nevertheless, Bob did the best during the season. She won originally. So, we're going to keep Bob winning this season, and Kimchi and Naomi Smalls are going to be the runners-up. So here are the track records throughout the season. Basically, every single thing I just said, but condensed into a single slide, if you would like to look at it, with PPE scores attached to the slides as well. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this video. As I kind of said at the beginning, it's not really, there are a decent amount of changes that kind of lead to the same result, but are all interesting, at least in my opinion, within their own right. So thank you all so much for watching this. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. And there will be more videos like this coming out in the very near future, so stay tuned for those. So yeah, thank you all so much. See ya, and take care. Bye-bye.